Vayetze Yaakov Be'ersheva, vayelech Harana. So obviously we've mentioned many times, the Torah doesn't tell us stories in order for us to know a story. The Torah is describing to us reality in order for us to know who we are. And this regards to right now. In this very moment, there are things about us that are true, but we're not aware of them. And our lack of awareness takes away our power. We don't have access to the things we're not aware of. So somebody could have a safe buried under their house with $1 million in it, and yet they'll be very poor because they're not aware of the fact that the money is there, and therefore they have no access to it. And while they have no access to it, they're suffering because they don't have money. And the same goes for us now. We're suffering because we don't have what we think we need. But that's not necessarily true. What we really need, and what can really solve our issues, is readily available to us if we can learn how to access it. And the Torah is our map to learning how to access those powers, those realizations, those areas of ourself that we so desperately need access to. And so, Be'er Shova refers to the Shechina. Be'er Shova was a place that was closely related to the Avos. They did a lot of work in that city. And Be'er Shova, if we look at it from the human perspective, refers to the human head. The human head has 7 doors. 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, and a mouth. That's the Be'er Shova. And the word Be'er also can be interchanged to the word Aver. 7 Evorim, that through these Evorim we create most of our experience. And when Yaakov leaves Beersheba, Vayetze Yaakov Beersheba, as soon as he leaves who he really is, he forgets that he is a Beersheba, he forgets that he controls his destiny, he controls his thoughts, he controls how he feels. Then as soon as that happens, Vayelech Chorona, he's going to a place that is Charon Af. He's going to get very, very upset very soon, because he's forgotten himself. He's forgotten who he really is. He's forgotten what this experience is really about. And so Chorona is the thing that's going to show up as soon as he leaves Be'er Sheva. Because Be'er Sheva is reality. You are a Be'er Sheva. You're in charge of your 7 Be'eres. And these 7 entrances to your brain, they're most intimately connected to your brain. These are the 7 that create most of your experience. And so, as he leaves, he finds himself, as darkness is coming, Kivo HaShemesh, Vayivga Bamokam Kivo HaShemesh, he suddenly finds himself in an unexpected place. Suddenly it's dark, and he goes to sleep. And as soon as he falls asleep, he's dreaming. Vayachlem, V'hinei, Sulam Mitzav Arza, V'roishay Magia Shemaima, Imalach Elokim Oilim V'yoidim Boy. There's a ladder from the bottom, from the ground, from the material, going all the way up to the Shemayim, all the way up to the very source from where everything emanates, from the very source where everything makes sense, where everything has its purpose, where everything is the way that it needs to be. And it goes all the way down into the human perception, into Arizal, into our way of thinking, our way of seeing. And the Malachi Elokim, the angels of nature, the angels that God created in order to create our experience, Oilim veyordim boy, they're going up and down within man upon this ladder that's in the dream of man. Man is dreaming, and within his dream he's playing with the angels of God, and he's raising some and he's lowering others, and he gives importance to different things. Some things he raises to the sky, and some things he takes from the sky and he lowers them to the ground. Some things that are completely unimportant, he makes those the center of his life, and some things that are most important because they have the most influence on his future, because they define his reality, those leave his awareness as he's dreaming and busy with things that he placed importance on. And so the Medrash says that Yaakov Avinu, he saw all the nations of the Golios. He saw how Mitzrayim, Paro, is going up in the ladder. He's rising in importance in the world. He's having more and more influence until he's the most powerful man in the world. However, then he sees that his dynasty, as powerful as it might be, that force called Mitzrayim, as big and as mighty as it was, the most powerful dynasty that ever existed probably. However, at some point, it falls apart. The Malach is Oile, he goes up on the ladder, and then he's Yored, he goes down. He disappears from history. And then comes Bavel. Oilim, Nebuchadnezzar, conquering the world, and Yordim. Because the Persians came. Poras, Oile, Zoroaster, big powerful religion, running a dynasty, having power of the entire globe, like we see from the Megillah. Sheva Imea ve'eser Medina, 127 countries. The power of Poras. They go up on the ladder, they're going to conquer humanity. They know how to do it. And they do, it seems. They succeed. It's not just a dream. It's a dream that people dream together. It's a powerful dream. But then it collapsed. And then comes Greece. Alexander the Great, running over the world with his mighty army. At the age of 33, he conquered most of the globe. It was a powerful dream. In fact, the Greeks had such an effective way of dreaming that we're still using their methods until this day. However, Yordim, Greece is gone. No empire, no dynasty, no kingdom. It's just a country like all the other countries. And then comes Edom. Then comes Esav, Yaakov's own twin. And he starts climbing and climbing and climbing. And he conquers the globe. And that's Christianity. They cover the entire globe. Everybody today knows about our God because of Christianity. They told everyone. Without that, we'd just be a tribe that's holding some ancient tradition. Today, we are the religion underpinning all the massive religions that are covering the globe. Christianity did that. The Muslims followed. However, as this was happening, the Medrash says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Yakov Avinu, Yaakov, why aren't you climbing the ladder? And Yakov Avinu says, well, look at them. They're all climbing, and then they fall. What if I climb, and then I fall? I'm afraid. I'm afraid to climb. And Chazal tell us that if Yaakov Avinu would have climbed, he never would have fallen. The one that should have been climbing, he was afraid to climb. Yaakov Avinu was exposed from his home, from living with Esav, to ideas, thoughts, and beliefs that made him afraid to climb. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is still saying to Yaakov till this very day, Yaakov, climb. Climb the ladder. Al tiro ki itcha oni. Don't be afraid. This is your life. You're as vulnerable as you're ever going to be. Don't assume that by not knowing you'll be safer. Climb. Look for your truth. Look for what it means to you to be here. Open up the gift that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you, because you're already doing it anyway. It's already happening to you anyway. There's no safety in not knowing. There's no safety in lack of awareness. Because we can control our destinies, but only if we can stay in reality. As soon as we leave reality, we lose control of our destiny. And so we have to remember our Be'er Sheva. We have to remember what it means to be here. We have to remember that we, and only us alone, each one of us individually, is responsible for his and her experience. Nobody else. If we wait for other people, we'll have very good excuses, but we won't have a good life. And so we have to control our Be'er Sheva. We have to control the well that is fed by the 7 entrances. What's coming in through our ears? How is it affecting us? What's happening in our minds after we receive information through our ears? What's happening in our hearts? How do we feel? And learn how a human being responds to information so we can know what to say and what not to say. The goal is not to know when to be offended. The goal is to know that we shouldn't behave in that manner to others. And the same thing, our eyes. What do we see? What do they cause us to think? What do they cause us to feel? The nose. The nose refers to anger or peace. Charo enough. To observe. What's happening to you? How's your breathing? How's your organism doing? Listen in to yourself. There's a real being living inside of there. Get to know him. Get to know her. Because this is your life. This is your eternity. This is everything. Learn how it works so that you know how to be. Because you are it already. You're just in denial of it. You haven't noticed who you are. Your mouth. The most powerful one of them all. The one that literally creates and doesn't stop creating all day long. Do we know what we are creating? Do we understand? Because as soon as we'll leave Be'er Sheva, Vayelech Harona, we're going to go to places we don't want to go. If we're going to forget who we are, if we're going to find a way to escape and get busy and get distracted, then eventually the real being that we are, the spirit, is going to be breathing heavy. He's going to have a charoinaf. He's going to be upset. He's going to identify as things he's not, and then when those things crumble, he's going to become very upset. How dare somebody ruin what I think I am? But we're not that. We're not anything anybody can ruin. We're not anything anybody can really offend, unless we decide that we are. And so that's our avodah. Not to be afraid to climb the ladder. You have to be yourself because you are yourself. And there's no escaping that. And those who manage to forget who they are until they pass on, they regret it the moment they come to. Because how can it be beneficial to be in denial of who you are? When we're incarnated into our body, when we live in the Be'er Sheva, we have the ability to create. We co-create with the original creator. He created the framework. He created the rules. He created how things happen. And we actually take all those tools and we make that into reality. We create with them. We create a way of life. We create a personality. We create a household. We create thoughts. We speak. We create within others. We create children. All these creations that HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates, He creates through us. Megalgelin schus al yedei zakai, v'choiv al yedei chayev. You want to know how HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks at you? See what He's using you to create. He uses the people He loves to create lovely things. He uses the people He doesn't like so much to create things people don't like so much. He creates through us. And we can decide what we're going to show on our channel. What side of HaKadosh Baruch Hu do we want to emphasize? What kind of potential do we want to manifest? That's our decision while we're here. And then as we leave, and we get absorbed back into the original one from where we came, we realize who we are, and we realize what we've done. And we realize the impact that our existence had on humanity, and on life, and on the entire universe. And this is real, this is measurable, this is scientific. We might not know how to measure it yet, but he most certainly knows how to measure it, because this is our lives. If it wasn't measured, then we wouldn't know how to feel. Everything works exactly the way that it was designed to work, and every detail comes out exactly the way the math causes it to come out. The math is beyond us, but it works. It creates life every single day. It's this math that's talking to you right now. Otherwise, I wouldn't know what to say. And so we have to realize that there's something real happening behind our illusions. Just because we think something is important doesn't mean that in the meantime other things won't go wrong while we're focusing on that, what we think is important thing. And so the Torah is here to give us wisdom, to give us the ability to know how to prioritize while you're here. What do I want to be a vessel for? What am I carrying? What is my mission? You want to know your mission so far? Just look back in your life and see what you've done. That was your mission. Some people you came to help, and maybe some people you didn't help so much. However, you can still change your mission. As long as you're embodied, as long as you're still incarnated into the physical, you can still change your mission. You can still decide that you want to define yourself differently. Just because your background, your parents, your community gave you a certain way of being that didn't really work out for you, it doesn't mean you have to stay married to it your entire life. In fact, you must do your own work to discover who you are. Otherwise, you're certainly not doing what you came to do. You didn't come to copy. None of us came to copy. Any of us who are copying, it's because we've disconnected from our source, because we've forgotten who we are. So we think it's safe to copy somebody else. It's never safe to copy anyone else. That's the least safe thing to do, actually. That's a certain death. And so HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells to Yaakov, Al tira of the Yaakov. What are you afraid of? It's happening to you already. Why are you in denial of the fact that it's already happening? Why are you pretending like you have time to figure this out while life is already taking place? This is real. This is as real as it gets. We'll rest later. But now we have to climb the ladder. Now we have to figure out what this means to us. And we have to become that. Because that's what we came here to do. The only way we're going to have proper directions is if we can wake up our connection to our very own GPS. The one that HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself planted within your heart. The one that causes your nose to be calm or your nose to be angry. He knows who you are. He knows what you need to do here. But you have to get in touch with him. As long as you don't have that, anything anyone will tell you will not be authentic enough for you. You have something real that you are about. And it's you, the mind's job, to figure out what that means so that you can be a proper mind to the human spirit. When you, the mind, are distracted, the human spirit that's running you has nobody looking out for it. It's running around in the dark blindly because you're off on a tangent. You, the mind, is busy. So we have to make our mind available to what we really are. And that means discovering who we are. Who are we a mind for? Who is that? What does it really want? And only we can answer these questions. Only if we'll become sensitive enough to listen in, to tune in, to understand how real this is, how big this is. We're dealing with somebody that created us, that created this entire universe. He created our ability to think and speak. He's extremely capable. We're underestimating his intelligence, the way we interact with him. We're also underestimating our own intelligence, what we're capable of. He created us. He did very nice work. We just haven't learned how to use it. So we're struggling with it as if it's a faulty machine. It's not a faulty machine. It's faulty thinking. And so when we'll figure it out right, it'll work just fine. And then life will begin. Then we can start understanding why anybody would want to create something like this in the first place. Kadosh Baruch Hu should give us the merit that we should be able to wake up. We should be able to recognize what's real. We should be able to prioritize right. Because if Klal Yisrael will prioritize right, Mashiach will be here in no time.